There's been some questions about homework number 2 in section 4.3. So I'm going to do a few of these problems on this video and see if that helps you finish up the worksheet. So at the top it says, remember that the order of the letters in the congruence statement tells you how the sides and angles match up. So you're always trying to find a side in one triangle that's congruent to a side in the other triangle, or the same with an angle in one triangle that's congruent to an angle in the other triangle. So if we look at question number 1, it says that triangle MNP, which is this first one over here, I'm going to call this one number 1, it is congruent to triangle QRS. I'll call that one number 2. All right. So triangle 1 is congruent to triangle number 2. And the order that they wrote the letters in is important. So they put the M first, the N second, and the P third, right? So there's 3 positions here, first, second, and third. And then they wrote the QRS in that order on purpose. Put the Q first, the R second, and the S third. And what I mean by on purpose is we can find which side is congruent to which side by the order that they wrote the letters in, and we can do the same with the angles. So what this is asking us to do is find NP. So N and P are in the second and third position in the first triangle. So the letters that are in the second and third position in the second triangle are R and S. And so I know that NP is going to be equal to RS. So I'm going to go to the picture and I'm going to look at NP. Well, that's the thing I'm trying to find. So I'm going to highlight that in red here. That's got no number on it, but that's fine. It's because they're asking me to find it. So I'm going to have to go over to the other triangle and say, well, where's RS? Because I know that NP has the same measurement as RS. So if I go to the other triangle, here's RS, right? Here, I highlighted that one in red. Those 2 red lines are exactly the same. So NP is going to be equal to 11.8. Again, the order that they state the letters in is trying to tell you what is congruent to what. All right, let's do the same with the measure of angle P. If we say the measure of angle P, and let's think about where the P is. The P is in the third position, right? And so what letter is in the third position in the other triangle? The letter S is. So I know that angle P is going to be equal to angle S, right? So let's go find P and highlight it. So let me pick a different color here. Angle P is right here. Nothing on it, of course, because they're asking me to figure out what it is. Go to the other triangle and find angle S. Angle S is right here. So if angle S is 42, then angle P must also be 42 degrees. All right, so that's how you do it. You just figure out what order the the letters are in, and make sure you can match up. So that's kind of my wording there. Match up the correct side or the correct missing angle. All right, let me do another one. If we go down to number 2, it's a little trickier because of the way they talked about the angle, but that's okay. Let's look at it the same way we did on the first one. All right, so again, we have 3 positions. J, K, and L are in the first, second, and third position, and on the other side, we have, again, 3 positions. First question is to find J, K. J and K are in the first 2 positions, and so L and M are also. So I know that J, K will be equal to LM. All right, again, if you highlight it, JK, I'll highlight it in purple. It's going to be the same as LM there. We'll highlight that one in purple also. So JK would measure exactly the same thing as LM, so JK is going to be 22.9. All right, I said this one was a little trickier, and that's because of the way they are talking about the angle. Remember, sometimes we do use 3 letters. And so it says the measure of JLM. So let me get this purple off this triangle, and let's highlight JLM in red. So if I highlight JLM, this is the angle they want you to find right there. So I'm trying to find the measure of angle JLM. I have to figure out what is it equal to. And so again, it gets a little tricky because what are we talking about the position of the letters, right? So think about what they did. They went from, if you go from J to L to M, you went from 3 to 1 to 2, right? You went from 3 to 1 to 2. So let's do that same thing on the other side. Let's go from 3 to 1 to 2. So, oops, sorry about that. If we go from the 3 to the 1 to the 2 in this other triangle, we'll go from L to J to K. So JLM must be congruent to LJK. All right, always use the order of the letters to help you figure out what the angle they're asking you about is congruent to, okay? All right, so if we highlight that, LJK, so if I highlight that, let me pick a different color, pick a green now. So L to J to K, that's that angle right there, that is 34. So that means the measure of angle JLM is equal to 34. So again, use your order of your letters to figure out how to match up the sides and angles to each other. All right, I am gonna do one more because I know this one is also a little bit tricky. So this one says triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. They want you to find DF. So DF, let's see, let's number these again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. D and F are in the first and third. A and C are in the first and third. So I know DF is going to be congruent to AC. All right, so these triangles kind of overlap, right? So D to F is right here. I'm just going to highlight that in green. And again, let me pick a different color here. AC is all the way from here to here. So it's like two triangles that overlap each other. So I know DF is going to be congruent to AC. Well, if you look at all the way from A to C, it's actually broken up into a 20 and a 12. So if you went all the way from A to C, you would have to add up that 20 and 12, and you would get 32 centimeters. And so that means DF is going to be equal to the same thing as AC, which I just figured out was 32 centimeters. All right, then finally let's do the measure of EDC. So if again we talk about the order of those letters, E to D to C went from, if you go from E to D to C, you went from 2 to 1 to 3. So angle EDC is going to be equal to, again, you're going to have to go from 2 to 1 to 3 on the other side, B to A to C. So angle BAC. Use the order of the letters, okay? All right, let's highlight again. Let me get rid of some of these lines here. All right, if we highlight EDC, we're going to just trace it. We're going to go from E to D to C. That's that angle right there. That's what they want us to find. We know it's the same as from B to A to C. So highlight from B to A to C. B to A to C is this one right here. So we know that angle EDC is equal to 67 degrees, right? So use the order of the letters to find the other side or angle that the one in question is congruent to, and you should be able to answer these questions.